Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to Gazagoji YT, and today I'm making a rather unique hybrid per se. For you see, a common trend that has been and is still going till this day in our hybrid community is creating hybrids with religious themes behind them. That theme typically revolving around Christianity, but unfortunately this doesn't seem to extend to other religions too, which feels rather unfair. And as a proud Muslim myself, I plan to change that today by creating a hybrid representative of Islam. Now, in order to give proper value to the concept of Islam in this project, I have set a bunch of specifications that my hybrid will need to meet in order to achieve his main purpose in the best way possible. And to explain these specifications, I've invited an old friend of mine that some longtime viewers of this channel might recognize. So, without further ado, take it away, Mr. Gazagoji.
Right away, partner. مواصفات الهجين المبتغات. القوة. يجب أن يكون هذا الهجين قويا ومجهزا جيدا حتى يتمكن من الدفاع عن نفسه ضد أي مفترس. عدم التراجع من أي قتال. يجب أن يتمتع هذا الهجين بالجسارة بحيث إذا وجد نفسه مجبرا على القتال فإنه لن يتراجع أبدا مهما كان الثمن. الانصياع تجاه بني جنسه وفصائل أخرى في البشر. بغض النظر عن قوته وجسارته لا يجدر بهذا الهجين أن يكون عدوانيا وأن يقحم نفسه في عركة لا دخل له بها. بل بدأ ذلك يجدر به أن يكون قادرا على التعايش سلميا مع فصائل أخرى كالبشر أو أفراد آخرين من بني جنسه. وبالحديث عن البشر فإن أهم هذه المواصفات هي إفادة البشر في مجالات عدة سواء كانت النقل، الغذاء، اللباس أو غيرها. And with that, we can get straight to the genome. Back at you, partner.
Thanks, Mr. Gazagoji. And well, you heard him. Let's get straight to the genome, shall we? The first genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the giant anteater. This will be my hybrid's base genome, providing its overall body shape, with its primary weapon being its robust forelimbs tipped in 3 large sickle-like claws. The second genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Ingentia prima, which will be utilized to increase my hybrid's size to a moderate degree, replace its mammalian respiratory system with an avian-esque unidirectional respiratory system by providing air sacs and honeycomb-like hollow chambers in some of the bones for greater stamina, better color and night vision, and lastly, it provides its leg, hip, and tail anatomy for better supporting its larger frame, providing it with an extra weapon of choice, that being the tail, and allowing my hybrid to take on a facultative bipedal stance. The third genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is Chalicotherium brevirostris, which will be utilized to augment my hybrid's forelimbs, especially at the level of the hands, by granting my hybrid extra dexterity without sacrificing its ability to knuckle walk, nor interfering with its sickle-like claws from the anteater. The fourth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Mylodon darwini. This ground sloth will be utilized to thicken the cortical bones of my hybrid for a stronger skeletal frame, in addition to providing its subdermal armor for a layer of defense, in addition to low acute hearing for detecting predators more easily, and lastly, major augmentations to the forelimbs making them more effective at self-defense. The fifth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is Deodon shoshonensis, which will provide its skull structure, dentition, as well as its raised neck vertebra for granting my hybrid its powerful bite for self-defense. However, it should be noted that my hybrid will still remain fully herbivorous. The sixth genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the domestic yak, which among the 3 genetic contributors in my hybrid's genome which allow to get along well with humans despite the impossibility of full-on domestication given how big it would be, is arguably the most important of the 3, given that it helps balance out certain traits added in by Ingentia prima such as a rapid growth rate and rapid metabolism in order to reach a sweet spot of sorts, allowing it to still grow relatively quickly for it to deliver the desired benefits to humans sooner, but not growing way too fast to where it would require an absurdly high amount of resources for it to remain well nourished as it matures. Furthermore, it provides additional benefits such as a more rapid production of antimicrobial proteins, a larger heart and blood vessels, in addition to a higher concentration of hemoglobin and specialized proteins in the bloodstream that help with delivering oxygen more efficiently. The seventh genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the Arabian horse, the second of 3 genetic contributors in my hybrid's genome that allow it to get along well with humans, providing its brain composition for heightened intelligence and a more sophisticated emotional capacity, larger nostrils for a higher oxygen intake, sweat glands for cooling up the animal, and energy-efficient muscle fibers that don't consume as much nutrients as regular muscle fibers, with these proven to be a highly delicious and nutritious food source for humans. The 8th genetic contributor in my hybrid's genome is the dromedary camel, the last of the 3 genetic contributors in my hybrid's genome that allow it to get along well with humans. This desert-dwelling goldmine of perks grants my hybrid its mouth papillae for safely biting down on thorny plants, as well as its sealable nostrils and eyelashes for protecting it against sand, dust, debris, and other harmful elements, not to mention its feet pads, which will only be applied to the hind limbs for protecting it from the hot sand, cold snow, as well as preventing it from sinking into such surfaces, in addition to dispersing its weight better for better weight-bearing capabilities. It also provides an even wider array of adaptations for stamina and thermoregulation, including a more complex network of blood vessels with oval red blood cells that can better traverse capillaries and ensure more optimal oxygenation of body tissue, as well as heat dissipating and insulating fur, selective brain cooling, digestive tract and kidneys for better water retention, which results in dry poop, a fat hump over the raised neck vertebra, which act as their energy reservoir, further complementing the yak's antimicrobial proteins, and to top it all off, it also provides its specialized milk, which is even more nutritious than cow milk. The ninth genetic contributor in my hive's genome is the Indian pangolin, which provides its exceptionally strong but flexible scales as the primary form of armor, being the most durable of any pangolin species. The 10th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the Brazilian porcupine, which helps modify my hybrid's tail by making it longer and more flexible without sacrificing its musculature, as well as providing the iron in its enamel and further incorporating it onto the claws for greater offensive capabilities. The 11th genetic contributor to my hybrid's genome is the Kodiak bear, which provides three major augmentations. 1. It augments my hybrid's sense of smell for locating food sources and detecting predators more easily. 2. It further augments my hybrid's forelimbs, especially with a large shoulder hump on the back, which will be fused with the raised neck vertebra of the Daeodon, ensuring greater arm strength. And 3. It provides its fat reserves, which will help with shock absorption, as well as complementing the camel's fat hump as an extra energy reservoir. The last genetic contributor to my hive's genome is the Asian elephant. This gentle giant is arguably smarter and more social than its African counterpart, as it provides both of these two traits in order to make my hybrid a highly social and intelligent creature that's no stranger to getting along with humans. Furthermore, it also augments my hybrid's hearing and smell for aforementioned purposes. With the genome now complete, it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you my hybrid representative of Islam, Kustoheros Mekkai, name meaning the guardian hero of Mecca. Codenamed Muhammad. Height 3 meters or 10 feet. Length 10 meters or 32.8 feet. Weight 6 tons. A giant, highly intelligent herbivorous mammal whose docile nature allows him to get along very well with other members of his kind as well as other species like humans, even if he is not fully domesticatable given his large size. However, if he were to be confronted by a large pack of hungry predators, he would never back down and would gladly show these lesser animals who's the real boss, given his large size, powerful armor, strong jaws, deadly forelimbs with sharp claws, and a long but muscular tail. This thing is an absolute powerhouse, but he's also a walking treasure in the eyes of humans as he can be leveraged in a multitude of ways, with highly delicious and nutritious meat and milk that can sustain entire families for extended periods of time, as well as feeding the poor who can't pay for their own food, in addition to his fur that can be used to create clothing that can be worn during different climate conditions, his scales, which could be the topic of studies for creating bioengineered composites used in vehicle manufacturing as well as construction, as well as the animal himself that can carry heavy loads for very long distances given his immense strength and superb stamina. And so Muhammad establishes himself as a proud representative of Islam. And with that, we conclude this video. I hope you really enjoyed this video of mine, as a lot of dedication has went into this project. And be sure to tune in next time for another episode of the Great Hybrid War What If Edition. So as always, thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.